Next, we are going to move on to almost the final part, which is part 5, attaching a handle. So there's different ways to make a handle. The most common way you're going to see for this project is where you take a slab of clay and you slice out a very thin rectangle, kind of like what we did for the wall, but a lot smaller scale. You would then take that thin rectangle and wrap it into a half heart shape like this and attach it onto your cup. Relatively straightforward. What I did for mine is I pulled a handle. So I'm not going to demonstrate how to pull a handle, but you're welcome to look up a YouTube video on how to do it. The perks or the benefit of pulling a handle, this one's not very nice, but it's nice and thin, and that's what I wanted for this cup. The benefits to pulling a handle is it naturally creates a very comfortable handle because you create it making your hands, so it fits in your hand really nicely. The challenges with it is it's time consuming. Usually you have to make a couple until you find one that you like. And yeah, I guess that's it. So you can either make a handle out of a slab or you can make a handle by pulling one. Once you create your handle, you want to make sure that it's going to fit nicely on your cup. Not just fit nicely on your cup, but it's going to be comfortable. So consider where you want to attach your handle. I am going to choose to attach my handle on my seam to kind of hide it. You don't have to do that. You can leave the seam to be seen if you would like. Sometimes it's kind of cool to be able to see the hand doneness of a project. Also consider your design. Is there one area of your cup that is best to be viewed? Because if so, consider most people are right-handed. So if you're holding your cup with your right hand, then the area of it that's going to be seen the most is directly 90 degrees to the right of it. Now, if you're left-handed, it's the opposite. So consider what side is going to be seen while you are drinking out of it. So again, I'm going to attach mine right over the seam. So I have to first cut it. I'm not going to be using all of this clay, but you can always cut off clay, but it's hard to add more on for a handle. So I started with a lot of clay for the handle. So I'm going to start cutting it where I think it would make a nice handle. X-Acto knife, there you are. Notice how I cut it at an angle, right? I didn't cut it straight across like this. The reason is it's going to attach to my cup at an angle. So I wanted to cut it at an angle. That might not even be steep enough of an angle, or maybe it is. Consider the placement of where you put your handle. Is it going to be up high? Is it going to be down low? Most people aim for somewhere right in the center. Your handle should be stiff enough when you attach it that it's not going to wilt and fall over. If it does, it's not going to be an effective handle. It should be able to hold its form and be relatively set up by the time that you attach it. So I'm in the process of cutting mine, shaving mine to fit better. While you are working on making your handle, regularly check to see if it's fitted well. You don't want a handle that's too far away from the cup's surface or it makes it kind of hard to balance. So you don't want too large of a handle, and obviously you don't want too small of a handle. If you have a smaller cup, you can get away with a smaller handle because it's more lightweight. However, if you have a larger cup, you want it to fit at least 3 fingers in there, I'd say. So I'm shaving mine down a little bit more. It's sticking out a little far from the cup's surface, and I want it to be a little closer. It's getting to be about where I want it to be. Yes, that's how I like it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on making sure that the areas of the handle that are going to connect to the cup are nice and flattened, specifically right under here. I'm going to do a little bit of fine tuning for some of the rough spots on my handle, just make it a little prettier. And then I'm going to attach it using our standard score, slip, stick, smooth method. All right, so as I started working with this handle, I realized that, I don't know, I felt like it was too thin and dainty for the weight of my cup, and it started getting this weird kind of kink in it as I was working with it more, and I'm just like, you know what, I don't feel like it matches my cup too well. So I ended up actually doing a slab made handle that I think better goes with this cup. So I just kind of formed it and fitted it to the cup. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to score and slip it on. You'll notice how this bottom part, most people, they just have the straight across cut. It's very important to remember that you need to cut it at an angle that lines up with your cup. Otherwise, you're just going to have this awkward C-shape handle with no real shape to it, whereas this one has more of a unique shape to it. So yeah, I'm going to score and slip it on, and I'll show you when I get there. Okay, so my handle is on. Now I'm just kind of blending up the seams with a little bit of slip on a paintbrush. It's coming together pretty nicely. I'm very happy with it. One thing to keep in mind with the handle is it's very important that you scored and slipped it down really, really well. Keep in mind that holding the weight of... Rover, quiet. I'm trying to take a video. Keep in mind that the weight of the whole cup is based on... Keep in mind that the weight of the whole cup, the support is based simply on these two connections, the top of the handle and the bottom of the handle. So those have to be very strong because, you know, your cup's only as strong as your weakest link. And if you have weak connections where your handles are, then it will cause it to break and fall off. Throughout this process, at some point, you're going to be tempted to want to hold your cup up by the handle. Do not do that. Do not actually hold your cup until it's completely done, glazed, been through the kiln and everything. You can, however, put your fingers through the handle to see if it fits well and how ergonomic it is, but do not actually lift the weight of your cup up from the handle. Again, if your handle is sagging at this point after you've already attached it, that means your clay was way too soft when you attached it. At that point, I'd recommend taking it off, letting it set up separately, and then attaching it at a later date. So the handle that I attached is really basic and straightforward. It's just simply a slab built handle. I beveled the inside edges a little bit. Rover, quiet. I beveled the inside edges a little bit. So that way it might be a little bit more ergonomic when I do hold it. However, the reason I'm okay with this being more of a basic handle is because I made this little pine cone out of clay. I feel like it kind of goes with the pine tree theme, and I'm going to attach it right up here as a little decoration accent. So I'm going to take some time to kind of shave off some bits of this so it fits into this little crevice a little nicer and neater. And then I'm going to attach it as my finishing touch, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I've now attached the little pine cone to the top of my handle. I've smoothed it all out. It's very well connected. Now my cup is basically done. Now I'm just going to do some finishing touches. So I'm simply going to look around all my edges, see if there's any rough spots and clean those up. You can use whatever tools you need, maybe even a paintbrush with some slip on it. Bottom surface, gonna tidy that up. I'm gonna check the inside. I know you can't see that. I'm gonna check the inside, make sure there's no frayed little bits. Remember, any tiny little extra scrap of clay is gonna turn into a sharp piece. So you wanna make sure you get it all blended really, really smooth. Once I go over all of that, then my project is all done. I'm gonna start letting it slow dry in my cubby, making sure that the handle doesn't dry too quickly. And then when it's fully dry, I'll put it on the bone dry rack, fire it through the kiln, and then glaze it. Good stuff. Alrighty, that's it.